So far, you've learned that UX can be an extremely rewarding career if you enjoy technology. So now, in this video, we will talk about how you can simplify and speed up your journey as a UX designer. When it comes to learning design, there are a multitude of choices that are available out there, right? Ranging from boot camps all the way to getting a formal degree in that particular discipline. However, if you look closer, you will realize that pretty much most of these programs teach the same topics, right? And most of them require significant amount of time. While boot camps say that they will teach you in a limited amount of time, the challenge there is you still have to learn the same amount of topics. So you're probably learning something about everything. Whereas if you were to go for a formal degree that's going to be longer, you're probably going to learn a lot more about everything, but at the end of the day, you still just learned a topic or a concept. The challenge that comes is when you get into the industry is, do you have the ability to ship or deliver on day one? So when we think about our ability to deliver a product, a smarter way would be to look at what is it that companies expect you to do in your job on day one. What are the most common tasks that companies are asking you to do? What are the non-negotiables that the companies expect from their employees on day one of the job? Right? It's not that you have to learn all the concepts that are out there, but you have to be really good at the few things that the company believes are non-negotiable for it. Focus on those tasks. Get really good at those. Get your job. Start building your career. And then systematically learn and expand your knowledge. That way, not only are you getting your job or building your career in the fastest possible manner, you're also investing in your career for the long term. At the end of the day, it's important to understand you don't have to be good at everything. Be good at a few topics that are most important and then systematically grow your knowledge. That said, what are the common tasks that companies expect their designers to perform? We did an analysis and found a list of 80 plus things that designers would do at their companies. Right? On closer inspection, we realized out of these 80, there are probably about 40 things that are most important. Okay? And then when we looked at the 40 things, we realized that you could basically group them into 5 different sections. One of the most common set of tasks that you would be given as a designer is to improve a certain product. And that requires one specific skill. It is the ability to critique the product. So given a product, can you identify where the problem is? Can you identify opportunities? Can you also figure out what is the fastest way to fix those problems? Right? That's what the pragmatic product critique does, is can you, in a very short period of time, identify the problems and figure out how to fix them. The next set of skills deal with how well or how effectively you're able to use tools. So for example, you have an application with 40 different screens. You have a button that has a blue background, and now you've been asked to change it to green. Would you then go into all those 40 screens and change the color of the button, or would you just be able to change it at one place and have it be reflected automatically? So the important thing here is, do you know how to use your tools in a time-efficient manner? And that is what you need to learn when you're using your tools. The third set of skills revolves around ideation and solving problems. So how quickly can you look at a problem and identify solutions? Right? How many different types of solutions can you identify? Now, most people struggle with this skill because they think you either have it or you don't. But the reality is, this is a skill that you learn through practice. You have to learn to practice how to ideate and propose solutions. The next skill that you want to think about is, how do you design transactional experiences? So if you think about it, most websites, in fact, every website has one common element. It takes some data from the customer, does some sort of processing, and responds back with some kind of response so the customer gets what they want. So the idea here is, do you know how to design these experiences? right? How do you collect information from the user, right? How do you present it? What is the best way to kind of set expectations? So these are all skills that you need to know. These are fundamental skills that you need to know when you're designing any application. And finally, the last part is, how do you do the basics of visual design? How do you make something look good? How do you follow standards? So a very common set of tasks might be, somebody might say, hey, we already have an application, but we need you to design one additional page for us. So how would you design that additional page? How would you follow a set of design standards to create this new page? When you look at all of these 5, they're not difficult in themselves. It just requires a focused and a disciplined approach to learning each one of them. And once you learn it, you practice it, and you know how it works in the industry, it is very easy to then transition into an industrial environment. There are 2 additional skills which, while companies do not ask of you, is very important that you have for yourself, because they will accelerate your career. The first skill is the ability to build a compelling portfolio and to be able to tell the story. Right? It's important that you need to learn how to communicate yourself and your ideas to the people around you. Right? The second aspect, the second skill that you also need to learn is, how do you collaborate and coordinate with teams which have multiple disciplines embedded in them? How do you make sure that you're setting expectations and you're delivering to those expectations? If you do these 2 additional skills, it just simply accelerates your career to the next level. In the next video, we will talk about each one of these topics in detail, and specifically the things you need to know and the kind of work you need to be able to achieve to be good at those tasks.